Hello and welcome to our webinar, How to Create, Promote, and Manage Your Events in Constant Contact. Thanks for joining us today. Now, before we dive into events specifically, I do always like to just give you a quick overview of all the tools that are available in Constant Contact, especially since you can use a lot of these to promote your event. So we, of course, have our email marketing campaigns. That's kind of our biggest part of our platform. Then we also offer email automation and welcome emails if you want to automate your email sending. We also have list growth tools to help you grow your contact list, digital ads for Google, Facebook, and Instagram to also grow your list, but also get the word out there. Social media posting tools, so you can post to social media and reply to social messages as well. We offer SMS texting as another platform to get the word out. And then, of course, our events tool, which we'll be looking at today, and more. We also have all of our learning tools and expert guidance to help you succeed all in one place. So I'm excited to dive into our events tool today and show you how that all works. So getting the word out about your organization is an everyday job, as you've probably experienced. To stand out in the fast-paced environment, you really do want to ensure people commit your brand to memory. One of the best ways to get people invested is to host events that'll provide that important information and value. Events are a really great way to grow your business or organization. You can build stronger relationships with your existing clients or members, find new ones, grow your contact list, and drive revenue or donations, and just building more brand awareness as well. And just a few stats real quick about events. First of all, 70% of event audiences become regular customers or clients after an event. 56% of donors regularly attend fundraising events. And then event technology, like the one we'll be talking about today, can help increase attendance by 20% and productivity by 27%. So that's what we're really here to talk about. I'll show you how to create, promote, and manage events within Constant Contact and just a few tips and strategies along the way to help you make your event successful. Here's more specifically what we'll go over today. We'll be talking about how to plan for success for your event, and then we will log in and walk through creating an event in your account. Then we'll be talking about how to promote your event to get those registrations and attendees. Then we'll review the analytics and just how to manage your event on the back end in Constant Contact. And I just want to formally introduce myself before diving into all of that. So my name is Caitlin. I'm a manager here on the professional services team at Constant Contact. I've been here coming up on 11 years, so really experienced with our platform, with online and event marketing, and just excited to show you how it all works and answer any questions you have today. If you do have questions, just a quick note on how that works. You'll just click over to the Q&A tab on the right side of your screen, type that in. That'll come directly to me. You may not see other people's questions, but I'll see them. I'll answer them throughout the session and make sure you're getting all that information. The chat tab, don't worry about that. We'll just keep our Q&A all in one place. And then also on the right side of the screen is a handout. That's a PDF you can download, has some links and just some good information to have after the webinar today if you need any additional information. But with that, let's dive in and make sure you have a plan for success, and then I'll show you how to create that event in your account. So it is important to spend some time in the beginning stages to plan for success. There's a few main areas you want to focus on here. First, it's important to set some clearly defined goals. What is it you want to accomplish? That could be things like driving revenue or donations, growing your contact list, just building loyalty, or celebrating some sort of milestone. Educational content, that's a big goal for events, or once again, just driving awareness for your brand or organization. Once you have those goals, there's some key metrics that you may want to measure. Things like event signups, attendance, shares or mentions, ticket revenue, or list growth. Then as you're determining your budget, you'll want to nail down the type of event. So is it virtual, in person, or a mixture of both, a hybrid event? Those things will help you figure out the details for your event so you can work towards your goals. But as you're putting together your events and hosting these events, just remember what's in it for them. Don't just create an event to sell something. That can be a goal, but really you just want to show value so that they will be more likely to attend and be interested in what you're hosting. With all that in mind, let me pull up the account here and we will run through a full demo of creating, promoting, and managing that event. So I am logged in here on just the main home screen right now. To get started, it's going to be under this marketing tab here at the top. And we'll be hopping down to the events option right here. So let me click on that. For our example today, we'll create a fundraising event for a nonprofit, an animal shelter called Hearts and Tails Animal Rescue. So the goal we're setting for this event is to raise funds, get some donations for the animal shelter. And we also, while we're at it, want to build a list of supporters who we can reach out to in the future for, once again, support and donations. So here on this page, we will click Create an Event. And this will pull up here some steps we'll walk through, just some things to fill out to put this all together. Now, the very first thing you want to do is up here in the left, just make sure to rename this. This is an internal name, so only you see it, but right now it's just untitled. So you definitely want it to be what the actual event is so you can keep track of that. I'm going to copy and paste in. I have some text I wrote out ahead of time. So we'll call this Hearts and Tails Fundraising Dinner and Auction. I'll just put today's date and save that. So that's set and good to go. So now we're going to be looking at here the event basics. So this is pretty straightforward information. So we'll go through this pretty quickly. The first thing it has us do is put in an image for the event. So let's click into here. I can upload pictures. I can choose from a stock image gallery. We even connect with Canva. I do have something I created here. So let me just click on that. Inserted, and then this will fill into all of your event materials, landing page, emails. We'll be talking about all that later, but this just is sort of the image associated with the event. Patricia, has a question. So what you're showing with Hearts and Tails is a template type event. Yeah, it's all kind of, if I'm understanding your question, you're basically going to be setting up a template. There's a landing page you'll be able to use, email promotional materials. So we're just getting that all put together first, getting all the information in one place, and then we will look at some of those different things and just how that all ties together. So we'll see that here in a little bit. For the event title, this is going to be external facing. So I'm going to say support our furry friends fundraising dinner and silent auction. And then we'll drop in a quick description. We'll say join us for dinner and bid on a variety of silent auction items. Our furry friends will thank you for your support. So with both these things, I'm showing that value. Like I was talking about, I'm pulling on their heartstrings a little bit and letting them know by attending this event, they'll be directly supporting the animals up for adoption. Moving right along, we'll choose the event type. Just choose something close to what you're doing. I'm going to do fundraiser charity. Location. So you will indicate, is this in person? That's what we mean by physical. Virtual, so some sort of online event. Both are to be announced. If you're going with virtual, you'll need to, you won't host it through Constant Contact. This is just kind of to collect the registrations and manage all of that. So you'll want to put in a link that you've set up with whether it's Zoom or YouTube, any other platform. So you'll put that link in, and then when they register, it gets sent to them. So that's the information you'll need for that. But we're going to do physical, and then in that case, just type in an address of where it's being hosted. I'm going to click to use the account address just to save us some time here, but you can type in whatever you need to there. Next, we'll be looking at the date and time. I'll just select, let's say I'm planning ahead for July next summer. We're getting a head start here and doing July 1st. And then we'll put in a time. So this is a evening dinner. So let's say 6 p.m. to 9:30. And it is just a one night type of thing, not multiple days. So I'm going to actually uncheck this to display and date since it's just the one day. Close registration automatically. I like this feature because if you don't do this, they can register all the way up to the time that the event starts, which that could be okay for like virtual events. But for us, we maybe have a limit of how many people we can have in the location, or we just need a head count of how many people there are going to be, need some time to prep. So we could say the registration closes a week before. And then you have time zone, put that in there. Contact information. So this will be who the main point of contact for the event is. So I'll just put my name there. The from email address, I'm just putting my Constant Contact one there. This is where the confirmation emails come from. But you can have the reply to address. So if they reply to like an email invitation, you could have it go somewhere else. Phone number. I'm just putting in a fake one. This actually isn't a real organization. And then the organization name is Hearts and Tails Animal Rescue. Now I do want to display that contact information to registrants. That's usually a good idea so they know who to reach out to if they have questions. And then this feature I really like, send me an email when someone registers for the event. It kind of depends on how many people you're thinking are going to register. If it's going to be a lot, maybe that might be overwhelming if you're getting a lot of emails there. But This was actually a requested feature that was added in by our developers because it is helpful. That way, you know when you're getting another person and you don't have to log in periodically to check that. But of course, you can do that as well. So before we continue, I'll just point out what this is over here. This is that event landing page I alluded to. And this is just a preview of it. So we're not going to edit anything here, but this is going to just give you an idea of how it's all coming together. What the landing page is it's a standalone web page that you can use as like a hub for your event or just a place to direct people to, and then they'll be able to click to register from here. So we'll come back to that, but if you're wondering what it's showing us here, it is that landing page. And it is automatically generated for us, so it's not something we'll have to create from scratch, which is nice. So Melissa has a quick question here. Can you not have more than one reply to address? We have multiple people on our team who need to see event registrations, and I'd like to see them or like them to see the registrations in real time with an email notification. So this time it is only one, just because it can only come from one person and there's one person associated with the event. So I could see why for sure, why that'd be helpful. But at this point, it is just the one that you can put in there. Okay, so we're set with this step. So let's continue. And now we have our tickets. Now you have to have a ticket set up for your event, even if you're not selling tickets. So I'll show you what I mean by that, because I know that can be a little counterintuitive there, but really what a ticket is a registration. So something they're signing up for. You don't even have to call it a ticket. You can call it something else. So keep that in mind as we're setting this up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Ticket. And I'm actually going to do a few different options just so you can see what that looks like. But once again, if they're just signing up for one thing, just put all your information in here and you'll be good to go. So this is going to be a general admission ticket. I do have a description I can put in here. So I'm going to say this option will get you in the door for access to the silent auction and light refreshments. And we'll set a price. If it's free, just leave it 0, but otherwise we'll put in the price. I'm going to say it's $50. You can have unlimited tickets available. I'm going to go with 100. And then limit 10 per order. I think that's reasonable. If someone is signing up more than 10 people, we'll have them do that separately. Ticket sale date range. I'm not going to do that for this, but that would be maybe you have an early bird ticket that people can purchase before the event, and you could set a different price for that. And then you could, it'll disappear off your registration form once the date has passed. And I'll display remaining tickets on checkout. Since there is a quantity available, they can see how many tickets are left, and that'll hopefully prompt them to sign up. I'll generate a printable ticket as well. This is optional. So if you're not really working with tickets necessarily, you can just leave that off. But the idea with mine is they would actually have something, they can bring it on their phone or print it, and they bring it to the door, and that's how they get in. So I'm going to save, and now we have the first option there. And yes, and we will go over that landing page. So once we get all this filled out, definitely we'll make sure to look at that. All right, let's add another ticket. This will be similar to the first one. We'll just set it at a different price so you can see what it looks like when there's multiple options. So this will be general admission plus dinner. This option will get you in the door for access to the silent auction, and you'll be served a full 3-course dinner. So they get a little bit extra there. So they'll be paying $100 for that. And we'll do 100 there as well. Limit 10 per order. And let's just do these two options. This will be like the first one, just the next level up. We have a question here. Lori asks, is there a max number of tickets based on the plan level? No, there's not. So I'll kind of talk about how the payments work here in a minute. There is a processing fee associated with events. So if you are collecting payments, this doesn't apply if it's free, but if it does cost money, there is a little bit of a processing fee. So the more tickets you sell, the more is taken out of your overall revenue, but otherwise there's no limit. And then Kim asks, is it possible to have more than one category of attendee? For example, part of the audience is required to pay, the other part is not, or would it be better to make 2 events? You can do it all in this event. You would just set, like, if we were to say the general admission is free, we would set the price at 0 for that. And then if the dinner costs money, then we'd set a price for that. So they would then just choose the option that they want. So yeah, you wouldn't have to do a separate thing, separate event, I should say. Let me add one more ticket. I'm going to do something different with this. So let's call this board member. Let's say for this nonprofit, there's people that serve on the board, and we want them to be able to choose a ticket that's at a lower price, but we don't want just anyone to choose this ticket. We only want the board members. So we called it board member. The description, this option will get you a board member in the door for access to the silent auction, and they get the dinner as well. So they're kind of getting this second ticket, but they'll be getting it for $50. I'll just leave it unlimited, but they can only sign up for 1 per order. And then don't need a date range. We will generate the printable ticket. And then here's what's different. So we'll reveal this ticket with a code, meaning it won't show up on the registration form unless they type in a code. So then we would have to tell them this code somehow, like at the next board meeting, in a separate email, something like that. But then they would be able to purchase the ticket as long as they know what that code is. So let's save this, and then we need to set up that code. So you can see right now it's hidden. And then to set up the code, that's here under add new promo code. And then just decide what you want the code to be. I'll say board member. And then this will apply to selected tickets or add-ons. If you choose entire order, that would just be like maybe you want to do a discount for the whole order. So then the ticket is going to be the hidden board member ticket. I don't need to set a discount amount because it's already set at a lower price. Quantity, we'll just say that's unlimited. I don't need to set a date range for this, but that would be good once again for like an early bird type offering. And then I'll save that. And now that is there. And then let's do one more thing. You may have noticed in the dropdown, we have something called an add-on. And this is if you want to sell or have people select or opt into something that isn't a ticket. So like maybe we want to give them the option to purchase a t-shirt. You can add an image of the product if you want, and then you would name it t-shirt. You add in your description. Arrive to the event in style, comes in several sizes. We give it a price. You can even add additional options. So like the size. So we could say there's 25 small, medium, 25, and you get the idea here. So we'd make sure to have all the sizes we want, but we'll just go with those. Limit per order. Let's put 10 since they can buy 10 tickets. You can also display the remaining add-ons on checkout. You can set a date range. You can reveal that with a code if you want, but then we'll save it, and that is an option for them to select now. All right, a couple quick things I want to show you before we move on. If we come back to tickets, it doesn't have to be called a ticket. You can see right now there's this section on the registration form that says tickets. So if I select our little pencil here, these are suggestions. I could also type in whatever I want here. But let's call it, I'm even going to say choose an option below. And now that has updated here. I can also set an overall capacity. So maybe it doesn't matter which ticket they chose, but you do need to, you can't have more than, let's say, 200 people. So you can put that in. You can also rename the add-ons. So I could call that extras, and then codes. That kind of works differently, so you don't need to rename that. So once again, for those people that aren't selling tickets, maybe it's just a volunteer thing people need to sign up for, then you could have that say something else so that it's not confusing. But with that, let's continue. And I'm just looking at a question here real quick. Is there a way to do an add-on for general donations where the amount is customizable to the attendees? Oh, that's a good question, Marissa. At this point, there's not. You can give them different options like 25, 50, 100, but not an amount they could type in. That's a really good idea, though. All right, so now we're looking at the registration form itself. So this is the thing they fill out in order to sign up for the event. You can collect the information for the primary registrant. So that would be the person filling out the form. Or you can do each ticket. So maybe, we allowed them to buy multiple tickets, and maybe we need information for each person that is being signed up. So I'll go with that, and then we'll choose what tickets we want to collect information for. Let's say I just need to know if anyone has food allergies. So maybe I don't need that for the general admission since they're not getting dinner. But these two tickets, I need to know about the food allergies. Sandra asks, does the primary registrant count as an attendee? Yes, because they would fill out their contact information here, but then they do have to also select a ticket for themselves. So they would be in that attendee list. All right, so then we have limit to one registration per email address. That would be this email address, the contact information. So if you want someone to only be able to sign up once, that's how you would do that. And that can be good because sometimes there's been situations where someone is signing up for something and then they don't remember if they signed up or not. So then they sign up again, and then there's duplicate registrations and it throws off your numbers. So you can set that limit, but you can also not have there be a limit if you're okay with people signing up as many times as they want. Then allow registrants to opt into marketing communications. This is a good idea, especially if you want to grow a contact list that you can reach out to in the future. So I'll go with that. They're going to be saved in a list. Let's actually stick with event registrants. That works. And then it gives them this check box here for them to opt in. And you can change what that says. So let's have it say, I'd like to receive your news and updates. All right, registration form fields. This is where you indicate what information you want to collect. So the primary registrant, you always need to have first name, last name, and email address on there. But then let's go ahead and add a form element. So for each ticket, I want to know their first name. And we'll make that required, so they have to fill that in. And I want to know if they have a food allergy. So I actually will do a custom field for that. So we'll say, do you have any food allergies? If so, what? And then you choose what type of field it is. So you can really ask quite a few questions of them if you need to. And then do they just have like a short little text box, a full text area, a couple multiple choice questions, or a date? Let's do text area and require that. Question here from Jan. What if an email is required, but the person does not have an email? That's tough because a lot of the communication for this event does go through email. So they could maybe just type in like a fake email. Although I would encourage them to maybe if, you know, someone else has an email address that they know, maybe put that person's email address in, because that's really where the main communication is going to be for you to communicate to them. Oh, and then, sorry, I'm reading through the questions. So if I ever sound silent, that's what I'm doing. Sandra asks, can we add other fields to the primary registrant only, like company, address, and phone, etc.? You would have to do the primary registrant option there, but then you can add the options there. The only things you can really keep separate are the informational. That's where you can add like a little blurb with additional information, and a checkbox if there's something they need to agree to besides the news and updates. You can also add headers, dividers, and more text boxes on here if there's different things you need to explain. Marissa asks, she saw that static text option. Is that able to have links inserted to drive guests to make donations? My organization accepts donations in 4 categories that donors can choose at varying amounts. Would you recommend that as an option? That could work for sure, because you can put any sort of information in there. I don't think it would be clickable for them. So they'd have to like copy and paste that. But you could also put that information in an email invitation and the landing page that we're going to look at in a minute. So you could do it there as well. But then they wouldn't really be registering. They would just be clicking on that link and donating that way. But if it's a situation where they're donating instead of coming to the event, then that could work. All right, let's see what we have here. I think we're good here. You can change this label to contact information. And this is once again the section of the person filling out the form. So if you want to clarify that, you could say, you could even call it primary registrant. Although I think that's maybe more confusing than contact information, but for the sake of the example, you can see how that changes. All right, let's keep moving along here. Next, we have the payments. So if your event costs money, you'll collect your payments through Stripe or PayPal. This is where those fees come in. So Stripe has its own fee of 2.9% plus 30 cents per order, and Constant Contact collects an additional fee of 2.9%. And it's listed right here to help you remember. You can pass along the Constant Contact fee to the people purchasing the tickets. So if the ticket's $100, then their ticket would be $102.90. You can't pass along the Stripe fee. That's actually a rule on their end with that vendor. PayPal's the other option. The fee is a little bit higher for them. That's why we say this is recommended. But either way, you can connect your accounts, and that's how the payments are processed. We just added with Stripe, Google Pay and Apple Pay as well. So if they'd rather use that than a credit card, that's an option. Now, my account's older, so mine's showing a couple other options, but for you all, most likely you'll just have to choose the digital payments. But I'm going to choose this other one since this isn't a real nonprofit. We don't actually have one of those accounts. All right. Well, now we're done. So we're saving that. Now we have a draft. Let's go ahead and activate it. Yes, I want to activate it. And now we can promote it. So we've done the creation part. Now let's look at how to promote it. And you'll be here on this dashboard for the event. This is where you'll find all of your options. So confirmations, that's going to be the message they see when they register and with the email they get. And there's a decline one as well. In the emails, they can decline. So I'll show you that in a second. So it's already written out, but if you want to rephrase anything, you can. So going back to that landing page, I know we had a few questions about that. So that is right here. It's been automatically generated. You can create additional landing pages, although you really don't need to because this one's already created. So let's click to edit that. If you've ever created an email in Constant Contact, the editor is exactly the same. But this is a standalone web page that you'll share on social media, on your website, via QR code, anywhere you can think to put a link. And then they get taken to this page when they click on that link. And this is where I was saying maybe you could put a link to the donation option, because here you can click and drag in additional text boxes. Maybe I come to my image tab here and put in my logo. We do have a lot of images in our library, but it should be here. There it is. Click and drag that. And then it does fill in with that information that we set up earlier. So that image and then all the details of the event. So feel free to put in whatever you need. You could put information about, like in our case, some of the items of the silent auction, pictures of the pets. If you're doing classes or have a guest speaker, maybe put a little bio for them. One thing I would recommend is social share. So this will allow the person who's viewing this page to share this on their own social media. So word of mouth is always important. And design is the other thing. So you can work with colors as well. For the sake of time though, let's activate that. And then it's live and good to go. And once again, like I was saying, share it on social media, on your website, QR code, and the link for the landing page is right up here. So this is what you would copy and share wherever you need. You can also come down here next to the landing page and deactivate it if you just don't think you need that. And you can copy the URL here. Okay, next thing you want to use to promote your event is emails. This is going to be one of the most effective ways, especially if you have a contact list that you want to get the word out to. So let's look at how to do that. Now, we actually recommend sending 3 emails for an event: an initial invitation, a reminder email, and a last chance email. Just to remind people, a lot of people are busy, might forget to register. And yes, Melissa, you can continue to edit the landing page after you've activated the event. Yep. And yeah, if you deactivate that landing page, it doesn't delete anything else with the event. It's just a way to promote it, basically. All right, so let's create an invitation. Sandra asks, do I need to create one? If I need to create one email for several dates, do I need to create the email through the email tab, not the event email? That's probably most likely best if the events are separate from each other and if you have multiple events. So probably the best because these emails are associated with this specific event, which let's pull up a template here, take a look at it real quick. And you'll actually see this looks very similar to the landing page. So it's filling in all that information we set up earlier. The difference is this is actually something that goes out to people's inboxes. So it's not just a link, it's like an actual email. So very similar concept. Put in all your information. We probably want the correct logo. Let's actually delete it. Maybe we want to keep this email short. So we'll delete that because the logo is in that image. Now, a couple of things here. The register button is linked up automatically to the landing page. And I forgot to mention the landing page also has a register button, and that goes straight to the registration form. But this one goes to the landing page unless you deactivate it. And then there is this decline option where they can just say, no, I can't make it. They can even put a reason why if they want. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, just make sure we get to everything else, but just build this out, customize it, schedule it. Here's how to schedule it. We'll click continue, send it to whatever lists you want. And you can schedule for later. So if you want to get a bunch of emails set up ahead of time, like I said, do at least 3 and then have them send out in the future, you could do that. So we'll just choose a list, fill out all the rest of the information, schedule for later. Maybe we're going to start promoting this in mid-September, something like that. Anne asks, for a 3-day conference, I only need one landing page. Yeah, so if you're having them sign up for the conference through the registration form, just the one registration form, you would only need the one landing page because you would need the one link to the one form. And since it's all one conference, it sounds like, I don't think you would need separate events. You would just have the one that they register for. You can give them different options, different things they need to choose, but then just the one link to that form would work. All right. So we have our emails. That's scheduled. Good to go. Let me just quickly point out the event calendar. So if you have multiple events, you can add the events to the calendar. Then you can share the link, this link, to the calendar, and it'll show all your events in one place. They click on it, and it'll pull up the information and the link to register. So for multiple events, you'd probably still send an email through the email tab, like Sandra was asking, but you could link to the calendar if you just want them to pull up all of them in one place. Another way to show all your events in one place on your website would be this HTML widget. It does require taking some code, embedding it on your website, but then it puts this little widget listing out all your events. And this is dynamic. So events that you choose to add to the widget will show up there automatically. That's, as you can see, brand new. I'm really liking that feature. So if you want those things to show up on the calendar in the widget, just toggle that, and then they will be there. All right, so those are the different ways to promote the events. Now, the last thing we want to look at, yes, so Melissa asks, this URL at the top, is that the one that links to the bottom? And that's exactly it. So this is the link to this landing page. Yep. Alrighty, so reporting. Now, before we look at that, let's actually register for this event so we have someone on the list. So we'll click onto our landing page URL. And it's just pulling this up here. So here's our landing page. I read through all the information, decide I want to register. So I click register. Here's the registration form. Let's say I'm a board member. So I know that I have a code I can add in. Board member, apply. Now the ticket has appeared, so I'll select that. And maybe I have 3 more people I'm bringing with me. And we'll do 4 t-shirts. So here's everything I've selected. I click continue. Primary registrant is me. My name's going to be Jack Smith. I'll just do like a test email address here. I do want to receive the news and updates. That's checked by default, but he could uncheck it. Then here is all the tickets. So Jack is the board member, so he does have to fill in his information for the specific ticket. But let's say no allergies. But then if we go up to his guests, the people he's bringing, let's see, Melissa is going to come with us. Wheat allergy. This copy data from is if the information is the same for this ticket, you can just have it fill in again. Let's say Mary and Josh has a dairy. And then we continue. Maggie asks, is there a reason it provides the capability capability to add the event to your calendar before someone registers? That's a really good question. I've never been asked that before. I think it's just so you could maybe like save the date, put it on your calendar, but then you would have to make sure to register for it. All right, this is the step where he would pay, fill in the credit card information, and then complete the order. Now he can view the tickets, and these can be downloaded as a PDF or printed. And then just a summary of what he paid for. So now we can come back here and refresh. And we'll get to kind of get a quick glimpse on how the reporting works. Once it loads up here, there's a few different places to look. There's some higher level reporting and then some more detailed reporting. All right, so now it's breaking down some of the details. We have $450, one order, one promo code, t-shirts, 4 out of the 75, 4 out of the 200 tickets. And then down here, whoops, let me switch over to reporting. Here's where the registrants will be listed. Here's if anyone declines. These are high-level reports, so orders would be the one we just submitted, and I can click on it to see all the information. I can cancel the registration, view the tickets, resend the confirmation email. I can check the boxes to check them in or check in all to indicate that they attended. Back here, tickets, just how many were sold. Add-ons, once again, how many were sold, just kind of for general inventory purposes, and then how many times the promo code was used. Now that's not giving us all the information we need. So to do that, we will come to exports, because let's say we need a report of the food allergies. We want to dig into those details. So you'll actually export. You can do a custom report as well. So maybe like another example is I just need to get a list of the t-shirts, the add-ons. I'm in charge of that portion of the event, so I could export that. But let's look at a full report. So that's downloading. We'll pull that open. I know I'm going quick here, so if you have any questions, let me know. But you get this spreadsheet. So there's a column for each thing. So like the food allergies is all the way here in column Z. Then I have the associated names. I also have the tickets with responses. The main contact person was Jack for all 4 of these tickets, so that's what that means. And then it's just giving us the number of each thing. So you'll kind of just take this file, sort what you need, and get all the information you need there. All right, Maggie asks, the Outlook option on my end doesn't lead to the option to add to an event. It just leads to the Outlook homepage. Yeah, I think that is an Outlook issue right now that they're working on. Melissa asks, where would you suggest putting an agenda for the event? Would that go on the landing page? Yeah, I think the landing page is the best place for that for sure. If you put too much stuff in like the actual event email, that might not be read by people. Emails, just as a general best practice, need to be shorter. If people have to scroll too much, they'll just kind of click out of it and not take an action. All right. I think that's all we need there for the reporting. Here's another question. Sandra asks, on the form setup, how can I delete some custom fields I'm not using anymore? It's grayed out at this time. Also, can the custom fields show up on the confirmation emails, not only the summary? So to edit the fields, you would click here on edit. Now it doesn't let you fully delete it because people may have already added or like filled out information. So you don't want to delete all the information, but you can hide it if you don't need that anymore. And that's just for the sake of so you don't lose any information. And maybe people didn't fill anything out, but it's just kind of set up that way to make sure you're not losing anything. But now they won't see it, at least. Melissa asks, would you create an additional landing page or just use the default landing page for the agenda? I would just use the default landing page. I think it would get too confusing to have multiple. Melissa asks, is there a guest list of registration for day of event check-in, or do you suggest we download and print out the guest list or use that on an iPad for a digital check-in? Honestly, you could do it either way. You could print out the guest list and maybe just check, next to each name. But you could also pull up your account on like a laptop or try it on your iPad. With the smaller screen, it might be a little bit harder to navigate. But then there is that check-in option. So you would just have to find them on your reporting page and then do the checkbox to check them in. All right, these are great questions. But that's it for the demo. Let's wrap up here. We do have some Q&A time we'll get to, but I think we maybe have answered most questions, so that's awesome. But just to wrap up, after the webinar today, go in, build your event and the promotions that focus on the value for the audience. And like I was saying earlier, use as many channels as possible to get the word out. You can also use text message if you are have that feature with Constant Contact, along with social and email. And something, a best practice is follow up after the event. You can send an email directly to registrants. So say thank you, maybe send out a survey, maybe a recap if there's a recording or anything like that. Now, I do want to let you know we're here to help. So we went over a ton of stuff today, and beyond just how to use the platform, there's a lot of strategy behind marketing events as well. So we do have professional marketing services. Let me give you a little pop-up here. There's different options. So you could just have like a consultant, a coach work with you on a monthly basis. That's our marketing advisor service. Or you could have someone do all the work for you, literally go in and set it all up. So if you want to learn more about that, just click on that little learn more button. That'll explain a little bit more. You can submit your information to have someone call you and they can tell you your options and get you signed up. Highly recommend that. But otherwise, this is the Q&A time. But like I said, we got through a lot of questions, which is awesome. I'm glad just to answer them, as you think of them. Sometimes that's a little bit easier, but we have about a minute or two if you want to throw a last minute question in there. While you're doing that, I want to plug one of our webinars called How to Connect and Manage Your Social Media in Constant Contact. I've been talking a lot about sharing your event on social media. So if you want to learn how to use our social posting tools in order to do that, we have a full hour-long webinar on just social media posting with Constant Contact. That's free. You get a recording sent to you even if you can't make it. So let me share another thing here. That link will take you to the page with all our webinars. So look for this one, but we also have webinars on SMS, creating and sending an email if you need to maybe take a step back and start with more of the basics, and many, many more. We have, I think, a total of 9 webinars. So you've taken one, there's 8 more. Lori asked, do you offer private trainings to a smaller audience? We do have, let me flip over to this. So we have what's called our new customer hub, constantcontact.com/get-started. I'll make sure to send that to you with the recording as well. But we have a Ask the Trainer session, it's called. I don't think it's designed for a big group, but if a couple of you want to hop in there, it's just like a virtual room you can hop into and get some questions answered and get some how-to advice. That's a good one to go into. We do also have on that page, there's recorded webinars, the link to all the live webinars again, shorter videos. You can also click the question mark in the top right of your account. There's FAQs, support. You can call or chat them. They're good too if you want to get some questions answered live. But with that, I know we want, let me answer one last question and then we can close out. Sandra asks, I have education events with different dates and multiple attendees from the same company. When they are multiple people, how can I avoid them having to enter in everything again? Can there only be questions for the main contact? Yeah, let's look at our options here. So if you hop over just to the primary registrants, then you can have these. These are hidden now. You can have these show just for the primary registrant. You could even ask something like, this could maybe get a little complicated, but you could say like guest number 1 name if you don't want to have to collect information for each individual ticket. I don't know if that would help you in this case, but something you can add in there as well. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you if you need to hop off for other things. So last thing I'll say is when I close the webinar, there is a survey that pops up. It's 4 quick questions. So if you have a minute or two, I always like reading through all the feedback. Love hearing your thoughts. But otherwise, thanks for joining me today and have a good rest of your day.